want to talk about some of the Broncos tight end targets remaining after Denver brought in Evan Engram for a pre-free agency visit. It's very apparent they would like to add a veteran tight end, and they have not signed Engram yet, which to me signals maybe the visit didn't go so well for one of two sides. So with that, let's check out some trade targets for Sean and George Payton and some remaining free agent targets as well. But like I mentioned, Engram came to visit. He had a whole day with the Broncos. They got dinner together. It sounded like a fun day at daycare. Nothing came out of it, though. No contract, and I don't want to say there's a 100% chance of anything, but it does not seem like it is trending in a direction where Engram gets a deal. If the Broncos wanted him to sign, they would have given him a contract, and if they did give him a contract offer, I don't think Evan Engram would start playing with his food and go, you know what? I'm going to see if I can find anything better out there, because that easily upsets the team, and then they go, no, we're going to take the contract back, sign it, or it's going to go away. But Engram, if they do find a way to make a deal happen, I can get on board with this. He had injuries to, keep him off the field for a lot of 2024. But, man, 2023, nearly 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. I don't think he is this joker-filling role that everyone wants him to be, but he'd be great in the red zone, and most importantly, he'd be an improvement. Why? Because any tight end would be an improvement from what you had last year, which was the worst tight end room in the National Football League. So Engram, I'm somewhat indifferent about because I think he still has some good gas left in the tank. We've seen some great games from him and seasons altogether in Jacksonville most recently. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket. And I don't think Evan Engram is going to be the guy that proves to be a big difference maker when we get to the postseason. Now, some other free agent tight ends to watch for. Tyler Conklin and Gerald Everett. Yikes. That's probably what you're thinking when you saw this. Like, no one better? Nope. These are some of the best tight ends remaining, which is why I don't expect Denver to go out and make a big tight end signing, because there's no one worth a big tight end signing. So with that leaves them with two options. They can trade for someone, which is more expensive. You got to give up a draft pick, and you got to pay that new player, whether it's an extension or just paying out the rest of their salary. The second option is the draft, which is the cheapest option, possibly the highest ceiling option, but the most unpredictable option because you don't know who's going to be available when you are on the clock. But to wrap up the Engram segment, because he's been a very popular name on Broncos Twitter and social media, do you want to sign him? Yes or no? I'm going with door number 3 of I don't care, meaning I am not going to be the flag bearer of get Engram to Denver. If he signs, cool. I'll warm up to the idea. I'll look for the positives. I'll be a half glass full type of guy. If he doesn't sign, I'm not going to feel like, man, that's a tough miss right there for Denver. So with that, let's discuss some possible trade targets for the Broncos. I've got 2 names in mind. We'll start with Mark Andrews, whose name came up during the NFL Combine. The Ravens front office, I thought, was pretty deliberate with their words. And it sounded a little bit like a eulogy when talking about Andrews and how thankful they were for all the times and memories in Baltimore. I walked away from that feeling like, looks like Baltimore is very open to moving on from Andrews and turning the reins over to Isaiah Likely. So we all know Andrews, I'd say, for the drops in the playoff game. Dude quietly had a very strong 2024 season, though. 11 touchdowns, most in the NFL, most of his NFL career. He had a slow start to the season, but despite that, 673 yards. I know that's nothing too crazy, but that's about 500 more yards than any other Broncos tight end. But you can look at his body of work. He's a Pro Bowl, All-Pro tight end. He's less than 30 years old. I think the Ravens are very much open to moving on from him. And I wonder if Denver's first step for fixing their tight end problem was the cheapest option. Or, sorry, not the cheapest option, but the first way to do it, which is free agency. And maybe after striking out with a couple of tight ends or only having interest in Engram and then deciding, you know what, this meeting really wasn't what we were hoping for, we're going to pass altogether. Then they decide the next wave is the trade market and then the draft in a chronological sense. Now, I think Denver could have interest in trading for one of these 2 tight ends. We're going to look at the second one in a moment for the right price. I have maintained the stance on this channel that I don't think a big splash acquisition at a skilled position is coming. I don't think the Broncos are going to out and make a big trade for a wide receiver. They haven't done that. I don't think they're going to make a big wide receiver signing. Haven't done that. Maybe Cooper Kupp, but for now, nothing. Tight end, for how bad it was last year, if they are getting concerned with the probability of Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland going before them at 20, that might kick in some urgency to get a trade done. Because as we get closer to the draft, I get the sense that Warren could very well go top 10. And if he goes top 10, then all the mock drafts that had the Colts taking Warren at 13, Indy has to pivot to Colston Loveland. And for 20, where the Broncos sit, that's a big jump up to 12. That's probably a first-round pick next year. And that might be too rich for the Paytons. So if they are in this moment of, realization, neither Warren or Loveland is a guarantee to fall to 20, trade could be the best way to actually improve the position more than Tyler freaking Conklin. And you can get Mark Andrews, an all-pro, Pro Bowl caliber player who played a really good game-ish, or a good season up until the playoff game. But maybe a new, fresh start for him is all he needs. The other tight end is Dallas Goedert. There's been some chatter revolving around Goedert. The Eagles just traded C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Texans. That's a surprise for me. So what's one more? As Philly is kind of not, of course, Philly is, Reed is a Eagles fan, so he's giving me the death eye right now. Philly is not, of course, rebuilding or retooling or anything like that. But I do think they are making some financially... Oh, sorry, the lights turned on here. The last time this happened, Dre Greenlaw signed with the Broncos. So is anyone going to walk through the door and tell me they signed Evan Engram? No. But the Eagles, I think, are trying to make some salary-saving moves. And Goedert could be a salary-saving type move. He's a very good tight end. I'd have interest in for him. I'd have interest in Goedert coming to the Broncos. I could see the Eagles parting ways with him. I think that's a pill they could swallow. I think with the investments they've made at A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, and Devontae Smith, along with a very talented tight end class, this might be a moment where the Eagles decide, let's sell high. Let's try and get something for Goedert, and we're going to go with a cheaper, younger option. I would not rule that out of the cards. And as I've been saying, there's plenty of motivation for Denver to try and swing for the fences at tight end because it's a disappointing room from 2024. The numbers speak for themselves. Whether or not the Broncos get this done remains to be seen, of course, Captain Obvious. But when it comes to price, I'll let you guys decide who you'd rather trade for. I don't think they're going to be very far apart in what it would cost to acquire them. I don't think a first, a second, or a third is probably needed to get them. I think it could be a combination of day 3 draft picks, a 4th and a 6th, right? Some kind of pick swap. But I think you could get Goedert or Andrews for a day 3 draft pick. That's going to be what I go with here. So let me know if you had to pick one, who you would rather trade for. I just want to recap also some of the moves Denver has made in free agency and some of the departures as well. So they finally actually got pen to paper for the long snapper, Jarrett Stidham, signing that 2-year, $12 million contract. I like this move. You want to invest in the backup QB position, and I think he could do a good job of supporting Nix. Jones comes back on a way higher price tag than I expected. Like the player, not so much the contract. Matt Peart will continue to serve as a swing tackle and a special teamer for the offensive line, but the two big spicy additions from San Francisco, safety Talanoa Hufanga on a 3-year, $45 million contract, and his old teammate Dre Greenlaw on a 3-year, $35 million deal. I love both these signings. I think they're not overpays. I think they are very much in the wheelhouse for what I expect them to get compared to what other players got that same position. You got Greenlaw for $35 million. Meanwhile, Cody Barton, after one solid season, gets $21 million in Tennessee. The Titans love overpaying Broncos players. Cushenberry, Barton now. I mean, I like Cody Barton, but 21 seems a little rich to me. But these two signings right here, I think they are going to go down as some of the best Broncos free agent acquisitions in the last 5 to 10 years. That's a bold take right there, but I really do believe he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowl for Denver, and he's going to be a fan favorite inside linebacker for the Broncos. I love both these moves, and if I happen to be wrong, if they both fall flat on their face, it's a 2-year, $20 million contract for the guarantees. I haven't seen Greenlaw's guarantees yet. It's probably around 20-ish million as well. So it's not going to be this catastrophic financial burden all of a sudden for Denver. Now the departures. Backup. I liked him last year. Best of luck in Tennessee, but I like Greenlaw more. Makes sense to me. He wants to go somewhere he has a better chance of playing. Backing up Tua, your number is probably going to get called at some point. Best of luck. It's a damn shame the injury happened because I feel like Williams could have been something special for the Broncos, but Cowboys gave him a 1-year, $3 million offer. And then Riley Dixon going to the Buccaneers for more money. So watch for a punter signing, by the way. Ryan Stonehouse, Colorado State legend. He's coming off a ACL injury not too long ago, 2 years ago, but he's got a howitzer of a leg. So, yeah, I'm in for Stonehouse. That's going to do it for us on today is just the second video of the day. It's been a whirlwind of a 72-hour sprint so far in free agency. Subscribe down below, though, for updated signings, rumors, trades, tracker, all that good stuff.